with everything that we do. Father, and most of all, reach out and touch the community as we are meant to do, Father. Let us be your hands that reach out and feed the hungry. Let us be your hands that reach out and provide whatever needs to be provided in this community, Father. Use us, Lord, on today, Father. Touch us in a special way that we may do it with wisdom, peace, grace, and civility. Father, we would be so grateful just to praise and worship your name. We honor you, we bless you, and it is in your Son's name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I think that needs another amen.
Amen.
The next individual you'll be hearing is from Jamel Black, NAACP announcements.
Good morning. I am Jamel Black, president of the Salisbury Roadway NAACP. I do have quite a few announcements of what the branch is doing. It's my vision, or our vision at Salisbury Roadway NAACP, that the branch stays visible, not only during the rough times, but we want to be visible through the good times too. So that means putting in community service work or then handling any complaints or issues. So our door is always open at the Salisbury Roadway NAACP for anything that you may be having going on, any issues you may have. You know, you can always contact us. We are located at the SunTrust building across the street from Bank of America. Our office is Suite 245. And if you need further information, please let me know. I'll be able to give you the information. But the Salisbury Roadway NAACP will be calling a mayor-managers meeting. When I say mayor-managers meeting, we want all municipalities surrounding Rowan County and the mayors in the county and cities and towns. We will have this meeting on April the 14th, I believe. That's a discussion date. We just have to check that date, make sure we're good. But we are subpoenaing all the mayors and the managers so we can have this meeting. The next event we'll be having coming up, actually Saturday the 24th, we will have Blue and Gold fair. The tickets are $30, and we're having the fair to support our scholarship fund. We want to be able to give a scholarship to every not every high school student, but each high school in the county to at least one student, so we can make sure, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and we need to support our students. I have so much, but I'm not going to kill my time with so much. But we at the NAACP is definitely here to anything, any needs you need. Just let us know. We'll continue to be visible, and we'll continue to fight for justice and equality. So if you have any questions for me, just let me know, or you can email me. I'll give you that after the fact. So thank you. I'm not wasting more time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamel. Everyone should be excited to see a young man stepping up and representing, because we need more young men like that. The next voice you will hear is introduction from Kenneth Muhammad L., the importance of place in building communities.
Okay, how's everybody? All right. Okay, we're going to try to squeeze the content into about an hour and a half, so we don't want to hold you long, but we want to kind of let you know what we're trying to get done. So my little piece of this is to kind of introduce you to place. Place-based strategies. And when we talk about place, one of the questions is, your partner is, why is it that people that's born in one place have great opportunities to achieve what it is they want to achieve, and then people born in another place don't seem to have those opportunities? And so place-based strategies is an emerging concept where you try to link individuals, households, community organizations, and local government to try to link them together. So I've got this with PowerPoint. When you start talking about place, you want to look at what is the uniqueness of the place you're from. And then place is a place where things are supposed to be deliberate and intentional. So if you're living in a place that seems to have no purpose, no deliberation, no self-determination, no intent, then that's when you start seeing stagnation, high crime, violence, and that don't happen in just black communities. That happen in the suburbs, right? So place-based strategies deal with systems in a community, households, ecosystems, ecological focuses, and community institutions. So if you don't have a school, it's very difficult to create anything sustainable. And so that's one of the reasons why we really pushed hard to get a charter school in the East Spencer community. So for place-based strategies, you have to do assessments and evaluations. Then you want to develop systems. In most black communities, even when you got a large population of blacks and minorities, usually they depended on some external system instead of creating their own systems. So what we want to do is we want to create our own system, not to be separated from white people or from other communities, but to create a model that serves our interests first, then reaches out to the larger community and create a market base. So in last year in June, we did a socioeconomic development conference, and I didn't tell nobody about it. The reason I didn't tell nobody about it, I've been a closed system for like 25 years. And I learned that if you say stuff too fast, then it gets sabotaged. And I'm learning now with all the decline, it's time to kind of open up the system. So that's one of the reasons for this conference. But in that socioeconomic conference, we identified these 9 models that were essential for developing a strong community or a sustainable community. And trying to do that through place-based strategies. And the 64 people that we brought them in from outside of Rowan County. They represented the 8 or 9 counties around the Charlotte area. And so, if you just, I'm not going to go through all this because I want to squeeze the time. But if you go back to that, please. So these are things that we need to be looking at in terms of trying to push a community forward. Not just East Wilson, but the whole Rowan County area needs to have strong aspects of these different models. Yes. So in order to move a community and really unfreeze us from the stagnation and the poverty is not because we don't have the money. The poverty is because we don't have self-determination on the original thought and not willing to step up to the table and offer strategies and solutions that all of you guys got. Well, we kind of keeping it to ourselves. So in order to create any kind of economy, you got to have innovation, and then you got to be able to have a strong marketing program that will support that innovation. The other thing is you want to create synergy. So the BLB is about synergy. It's about bringing everybody in, not for one leader. All of us are leaders. But what we have to do is determine what we want to lead and why and who wants to go in that direction, and then we need to create a shared approach to it. So, I'll tell you when to lead. So we want to establish a system. So part of establishing that system is to getting us all in the same room and get us talking to each other instead of talking at each other. And then we want to simplify the process through government and the subsidiaries that support government. We want to have them to come to the table to help us to create a funnel, if you will, so we can start establishing what's a win-win for all the parties involved. And then we need to be about storytelling. I can tell some great stories, but most of y'all who know me, my stories is like, the language ain't good, right? But the points get made, right, if you can stand the holler. Next. So when you look at this slide in East Spencer, it brings up a myriad of responses. If you're a pessimistic person, it looks bad and la 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 la. But if you're optimistic, it creates opportunities. Next. And this is the footprint for that area. So when you look at that area from the top, from the area view, a lot of things go through your mind, but if you just look at from the ground level, go back, then we stuck right there. And most black people, in my opinion in East Spencer, we hadn't been up in a loft, or we hadn't been on top of the Dunbar Center, or we hadn't been on top of something so that we can get another perspective on what the town or the place that we live in, what it looks like or what it could look like. I went to Myrtle Beach about 5 years ago and I saw this house. And I was like, man, I didn't do that in East Spencer. Not for me. And I was thinking, the reason I was going to Myrtle Beach, I don't like the water. So I never get in the water, but I like Myrtle Beach because when I get there, I get to see a system, right? I get to see a system that was put in place, a marketing program, an innovation that was put in place that draws people from all over the country, all over the world to that place because they feel some affinity to that place. So I started thinking, why couldn't we bring Myrtle Beach to East Spencer? I know y'all gonna laugh, right? I'm gonna laugh. But I've seen a place in East Spencer where I could do maybe 12 of those units on one side of the street and another 12 just like on the other side of the street, and in the middle was a beach, right in East Spencer. Right? Y'all can laugh, but you find yourself laying in the sun next year. So what these meetings are for the people that's got programs is to help you to keep moving and keep finding the resources and the support. For those of you not sure what you want to do, just start asking what could. And don't worry about if somebody's going to laugh about your idea or concept, because we're in such a bad state right now in Rowan County that nobody's got no room to do no laughing. Right? Next. So one of the things we're doing with this Black Leadership Breakfast is a Black Leadership Breakfast to get Black people in the room, but with other people, other white people, other Hispanics, other ethnic groups. And what we're doing is we're trying to get our ideas and our stories together and then find a framework so we can manifest it, right? We use Kaizen training. Now, I've been through a lot of training programs in my career, but Kaizen means good change or continuous improvement. And that's what we all need to be working on. So what I want you to do today is I want you to support the year-long. This is going to be a 12-month initiative, right? And out of this initiative, we're going to see things come to manifest, right? We want you to help us to identify other innovators. I don't know everybody, but, you know, we want people that's doing things, we want to give them a platform, right? We want to create. One of the problems in Rowan is the platform is too small, right? It's too small, and people are under the impression that it won't work because I don't have enough money. I don't never have no money. My family will tell you that. I stay broke, but somehow stuff get done, right? And money ain't what you get taken out your wallet or what you're swiping. Money is what you can articulate out of your mind. And money is when you put something out there, you're putting something out there because there's something in it for the person that you're talking to or the group that you're talking to. And so that creates an equal exchange, and it's the same as money, right? Right? Right. All right, next. So I'm done, right? So our organization, the PLDG group, what we want to say is the future of our local community economy is yet to be seen. We ain't synergized in Rowan County holistically yet. So our future economically is unseen. Our stories are not written yet, but today and tomorrow we have the opportunity to write a vision, and not my vision, but write your own vision and then merge it into a larger vision, right? And we create a place that's got an intentional purpose or a deliberate course of action. That's what we need in Rowan County. That's what we need in East Spencer, and that's what I wanted to say to you guys. Wakanda.
Village, Rowan County. Do you feel the synergy? Yes. All right. We're gonna try that again. We're gonna give you a little time, let the food settle. The next voice you will be hearing, and by the way, each individual on this list is a special individual because there are caring individuals who are on this list. So they're taking time out of their life to think of others and try to find a solution for other people instead of thinking of themselves. So the next person you will hear is Craig Lamb from RCCC. Where are the community assets?
All right, so I've got 5 minutes to talk about my favorite subject, and that's dangerous, because I could talk about this for much longer. So this morning, I wrote down what I want to say, so I'm going to ask for your forgiveness for reading this morning, because this is going to keep me on schedule and on task. But I was asked to talk about community assets this morning, and lots of folks would expect me to start listing agencies and foundations and government units and things like that. When we think about assets in a community, we often think about those institutional kinds of things. But I think about the assets that are hidden in every community. You having trouble here? Is that better? Okay. But I want to talk about the assets that are hidden within our communities and within this room. Assets are power. Assets are powerful. But often, community groups feel like they have no power and feel like they are not powerful. Great things are accomplished when people with a common vision commit their assets to move forward towards a vision, a shared vision, just like what Kenneth was talking about. I call it linking and leveraging. Let me share a story about linking and leveraging. Last time we met, I asked the room who was aware of the North Carolina Manufacturing Institute, and the majority of hands went up. And the North Carolina Manufacturing Institute is a great story, and it's a great program, but it came from very meager beginnings. It came from 5 people sitting around a table, looking at a situation. We had people looking for jobs, and we had jobs looking for people, and somehow it wasn't connecting. And we needed to build a bridge to be able to do that. And all we had with us was what we had with us. All we had as assets was what we brought to the table. We didn't start out by saying, you know, what we need is a grant, or we need this agency to come in and help us. We talked from the standpoint of what we each brought to the table and what we were willing to commit to our vision. See, I already got off track. So, but the North Carolina Manufacturing Institute was funded and it was founded. Wasn't funded. It was founded from that combination, that linking and leveraging of assets that each of the people brought together. We were able to invent a solution for our community based on what we brought to the table. So the process took time. It doesn't happen immediately. But it began by identifying, assets that we each were willing to commit. Assets that we could have used for something else, but assets that we decided to put towards that. So here's the framework that I use when I'm trying to identify hidden assets. Whether I'm working with multi-million-dollar corporations or whether I'm working with a community group that's trying to improve safety and security in their neighborhood. There are really just 4 kinds of assets. Physical assets, skill assets, social assets, and capital assets. And everybody's got some of those. Physical assets are those things like rooms, building, equipment, but today they're also digital assets. They're websites, they're Facebook pages, they're digital content, they're things like that. So those are physical assets. Skill assets are those things that we each bring to the table that we know how to do. It could be what we do for our job, it could be what we studied in school, it could be a hobby that we have, it could be something that we're good at. Maybe you can write a newsletter, maybe you can convene a group, maybe you can take photographs, maybe you can do lots of different things. But those are skill assets. Social assets are what I believe are the most powerful tools. And this is what I think Kenneth was talking about. This is that notion of linking and leveraging assets when you rely on the robust networks that exist in communities and how you combine those networks to be powerful tools for change. So social assets are networks that people are part of or that they have access to. Capital assets are assets used to buy something that the group might need. It's usually money. I want to make the serious underline here that this is the least important asset when you're forming a group. Okay? The social aspect, the networking, is the most important thing at the beginning. So our role, everyone in this room, and everyone we want to have join us in this room, is to identify and connect those resources to tap into the power within our communities. So when guiding community groups, I try to help them answer 4 questions each time they meet. What can we do? And you even saw that up there. What could we do? That's a powerful question. But the next question is, what should we do? The next question is, what will we do? And the last question is, what's my personal commitment to move closer towards our vision before the next time we meet? But going back to that very first question, what can we do? That's where asset identification comes in. That's where understanding what those networks and those social networks that exist are. That's where it's important to understand what the skills of the group are and what you need to add to the group. That's when it's important to identify any capital assets and that capital asset needs, and when it's important to identify those skills that are required. So those are 4 questions that can be asked in any group to help it move incrementally towards a goal. But having those assets and having people willing to commit those assets is what moves a group from talking about something to doing something. Community assets are all around us. It's our job collectively to expose them, find those strengths, find those traits, find those powerful skills that people have, and bring them to bear on a shared vision. This is my approach towards community assets, and I hope it's something that we'd like to talk about in the future. We have a process called strategic doing that we that we believe provides a framework for groups to easily identify a vision, identify some key actions, and start moving forward. And so this asset piece, though, is what I believe is the most important part, and I'm glad that Kenneth asked me to talk about it today. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Craig. I don't know if y'all was paying attention, but I think each of you have been challenged. So do you have synergy? Yes. Craig, you did challenge him.
Yes.
Next individual we'll be hearing is from Matt Barr, wasn't able to make it, but we'll be hearing from Tracy Everhart, Carolina Color, Rebuilding Our Formerly Incarcerated Citizens.
First off, to give honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And on behalf of representing Matt Barr and Carolina Color, Matt Barr, I can't fill his shoes, and that's not what I'm here for. But I'm here to tell my story about my relationship with Matt Barr and Carolina Color. I've done 14 years in what I call the belly of the fish. And I'm going to look at my watch because one thing over the years God have taught me, I want to be obedient. I have 10 minutes, I believe, and I want to do everything within that out of respect. Amen. But I've done 14 years what I call my experience in the belly of the fish, which is the Department of Safety. Amen. Now the price that I paid for being disobedient to God. God called me into the ministry, He called me to salvation, but I took off running in the opposite direction, a modern day Jonah that y'all know what I'm talking about. So after my incarceration, I had a chance to get on work release. And I was able to get on at Carolina Color. And that's where I got to meet Matt Barr, a great man. Never met an owner of a company, someone in his stature, humble. And if he see you in the street, he's going to talk to you no matter where you're at. And Carolina Color create everyone equal. You know, being most companies that hire inmates out of prison, they want them to, one of the benefits, the state let you know, you ain't got to pay them what everybody else is paying. But that's not Carolina Color. Whatever you can walk in on the street to make, that's what you're going to make as an inmate of Carolina Color. Another thing that the government allowed them to do, when you hire ex-inmate, the government allow you a tax write-off. Carolina Color don't get a tax write-off, even though they can, but they don't want it. Because they care about men coming out of prison to give them an opportunity to be successful again. Before I went to prison, I lost everything I had. I had a home, car, lost everything. And because of the work release program at Carolina Color, I had an opportunity to establish a work history. Because see, you know, you can't get no credit or nothing without a work history. So I was on work release at Carolina Color 3 years before I got out. So when I got out, God blessed me with a beautiful wife. Then he blessed me to be able to, in less than 6 months out of prison, I got approved for a home. And that's because of the work release program at Carolina College. And I didn't have a car, but today, and there's a song that says, everything good happened to me, God did it. And I give God the glory and the honor today on the honor of 3 automobiles. And most importantly, because of God's grace, I am a law-abiding citizen today.
Amen.
Carolina Color gave me that opportunity to be able to establish myself. Not rich, but I don't like nothing. Got a roof over my head, got a little savings account. You know, when I was in prison, I used to tell guys, I said, I want a job making $25 an hour. Because, you know, I wanted to be able to support my family. I wanted to be able to support ministry. I always wanted to be able to help feed the hungry, help the needy. I always had a desire as an unsaved person. But I can tell you today, I'm not making $25 at Carolina Color. If you make it $25 at Carolina Color, you got a high position that I got. But I can tell you this, in spite of, I have favor with God in Carolina Color. God has gave me favor with Matt Barr in Carolina Color. And I thank God for that. I'm able to tell you that working at Carolina Color, it ain't just me. It's other guys that have been incarcerated also have became a homeowner. Some have even been able to work at Carolina Color and achieve their own job on the side. But I just want to thank y'all for allowing me this opportunity. Thank Matt Barr for, and kind of the honor that he asked me to come and represent Carolina Color. And Carolina Color, there's many places that give or have worked with these programs. But Carolina Color, I put top of the list. Because I know some places didn't didn't hire inmates. But I believe that they had heard about Carolina Color. And now the doors have been opened that other companies are willing to hire guys out of prison. Because they're so important. Because see, some come out without a job, nobody wants to hire them. And then they may turn back to crime. But Carolina Color have gave guys in this community, surrounding community, the opportunity to come there and work. Even the guy in charge of hiring is an ex-felon. 90% of Carolina Color production workers is ex-inmates. And they treat everyone equal, not different. So on the behalf of representing Carolina Color, that, you know, Carolina Color is a company that this community, people can recommend, go to Carolina Color, because one thing about Carolina Color, they ain't gonna look at you of your past. They're gonna give you opportunity to be successful. And I want to just thank Carolina Color for that opportunity.
Lorraine Village. Then you have the synergy. After hearing that story there, I don't know Matt Barr, but God be with him. We need more companies like that. The next voice you will be hearing is, Anasia Lattimore. Ananza.
Think about
Ananza Lattimore. Operating a clean slate. Second chance. She gave me a second chance.
She gave me 4 or 5, actually. Morning blessings, everybody. How are you this morning? My name is Anansa Lattimore. I am the CEO of Spoken Angels, which is a nonprofit here in Salisbury, North Carolina. One of our programs that we will be highlighting today is Operation Clean Slate. Operation Clean Slate was adopted, we started talking about Operation Clean Slate with the Stop the Violence committee and the meetings that we were having there back in 2017, but it was established as one of the action items that was sponsored by the Women for Community Justice of Salisbury-Rowan County. This nonprofit organization is in its early stages, so we need some help. And it was developed as a partnership between Women for Community Justice and Spoken Angels, Inc. to address the problem of recidivism, in Salisbury-Rowan County. Now, when it comes to true forgiveness, I just wanted to take a moment with this because I've noticed, and I'm an ex-offender myself, when you come out of prison or jail, the first thing people will look at you and say is, well, you did this, you did that, and it's automatically you're become a stereotype. You're judged, you're criticized, and I feel like second chances is a wonderful thing for somebody who definitely wants to get on the right path to do what they need to do in the community. My favorite quote by Karl Barth is, though no one can get back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. So I feel like we need to give those who are ex-offenders a chance to make a brand new ending. True forgiveness means to be sincere and honest in our approach to these individuals who have been criticized and judged for their past mistakes. If the Most High forgives us, we should all treat our brothers and sisters in the same manner. We are our brothers and our sisters' keeper. This program will benefit incarcerated individuals and ex-offenders by helping them get back on their feet, and will be under the umbrella of Spoken Angels as an established nonprofit organization already involved in the effort to assist ex-offenders. The goal is to provide an environment in which ex-offenders can become good and successful citizens of our community. We will be the liaison between ex-offenders and businesses, companies who are willing to provide employment and other necessary services. I'm sorry, let me scroll down here. Okay. I would also like to take a moment to ask all of you, what is justice? What does justice mean to you? In your own words, what do you believe justice means to an ex-offender who is released back into the community after years behind bars? According to history, people haven't been given second chances. For example, the Indians were labeled savages in order to justify conquering their land. The blacks were called inferior to justify enslaving them and were degraded to less than a human. Poor whites weren't allowed certain privileges because they didn't have land and were called inadequate because of their economic state. Also, women weren't even allowed to speak and were considered inferior to men. Do we consider this justice? Recently, I also read about a judge in Detroit who had children arrested and sent to jail simply because it made him extra money on his paycheck. The prison system is a multi-million-dollar business and is in fact modern-day slavery. History will repeat itself, and there are individuals who get charged for crimes that they in fact did not commit. Prisons have to maintain their quota, so to speak, and usually become overpopulated with blacks and Hispanics. Do we consider this justice? For an individual to want to come out of prison and restart their lives the right way is very commendable. Now it's time for us, the people, to break the chain of injustice and provide genuine second chances. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank God for second chances. I don't know about you, but I found myself in situations that only God got me out of. I could have been asking for a second chance. So it's huge. Next individual we'll be hearing from is a living testimony, Wakil Hakeem, the ex-offender, as entrepreneur.
Good morning, how y'all doing? My story is, I'm trying to keep my story short, quick, brief, give you a little bit about the past. A lot of people here know me, know my family. They know how I was rolling at one point in time, but things changed. Had to go take a little trip. It cost me half my life. I spent about 16 and a half years in there. You might look at me and say, hey, you look young, if you don't know me, but close to 40. When I was released, before I was released, I had made up my mind I wasn't coming back in there for no reason. Mama, grandma, nobody, I wasn't coming back for nobody. I didn't care what it was or who it was. And while I was in there, I spent my time educating myself. I spent my money on books. People would laugh at me. Same friends I ran the streets with, sold drugs, ran with, got high with, they used to laugh at me because they're like, "Hey, you gonna get back out and do the same thing. Your homeboy got it. You just what you gonna do?" I was like, "Nah, I'm starting my own business." Alright, well, give me a job when you start your own business. Alright, they thought it was a joke. So just kept educating myself and preparing myself. And when I was released, I didn't have nothing. I mean, literally nothing. I didn't ask nobody for nothing. Did nobody offer me nothing. Very few people did. Because they automatically assumed that I was going to go back to the way that I was hanging in the streets with my friends or whatever. But that wasn't the case. But I didn't become bitter or anything. I just kept moving. I knew what I wanted. Went knocking on doors, applying for jobs. They told me no at least 20 times in some places. I show up every day. Hey, how you doing? I put the application in yesterday. Can I speak with the manager? Oh, he's not here. His car is dropped in the parking lot. He's here. I eventually started working at some little fast food place. This lady gave me an opportunity. She changed her life. And, we had crossed paths in our former lives. And she gave me an opportunity for employment. I took it and ran with it. But I had other skills that I had acquired while I was in there. And I was trying to apply them, but it was hard. I'm licensed in HVAC, heat and air. It's hard to break in somewhere where you have a record doing heat and air work or anywhere, even if you're doing commercial. I attended a CDL class while I was in there. When I got out, I'm a licensed CDL operator. Well, I'm not driving, but I have my CDLs. Went to college, graduated, small business management degree, 2 year. Took various classes, whatever they had in there, I took it. I educated myself, and I just kept going. And every job that I got, I wanted more, and I knew this was where I was going to be at. Even when I got to some jobs, some people consider it a good job. Like, hey, you work at Freightliner, this is a good job. Nah, this is a stepping stone. You look at it as this is where you're going to be for 10 to 20 years, like some guys in prison say, oh, I've been down 20 years. You get up there, I've been working here 15 to 20 years. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It might work for you, but it didn't work for me. It ain't going to work for me because I want more. And I knew there was more out there. So I was always working hard and saving my money to invest to a vehicle that would give me another income source. But along the way, I started, helping as many people as I could, reaching back instead of just, I don't owe them nothing. Even the people that didn't want to help me, I still reach out and help them. But things went different ways with that, and I just basically started my own business. Started out doing personal training, Eli Fitness and Nutrition. Doing pretty good at that. A couple different gyms tried to hire me on full time. I wouldn't work for them because I'm not going to give you a percentage of what I'm making. I'm not going to give you 30% of what I make just to work out of your gym, and I'm bringing you money. So eventually started Brothers Handyman Services Remodeling and Repair, LLC company. Now you start subcontracting work out, start getting jobs, bigger jobs, like one job I have now is really big. So it's like I'm subbing people out, but the thing of it is, I made it a point to where I would try to find people who had records, and if they want to work, I don't care what color you are, who you are, or whatever. If you want to work and show up, I pay you. I'm not going to pay you the minimum of some of these jobs where we only pay $10 an hour for labor. Nah, I've done that type of work before, so I'm going to pay you a fair rate. Yeah, and I try to work with people, but I just try to reach back. I'll volunteer my time going to the prisons and speaking to those guys about proper preparation. But they're like, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? We want people to look at you like this, when they look at you like that. Well, when I used to go on the job interviews, I had my folder. I'd be dressed up sharp like a man with a suit. They think I'm coming applying for a manager job. You know, this is a regular job. It's all about how you present yourself. But I have my paperwork and I put it right there in front of them and I shoot it to them straight from the start. And how I present myself, how you come across, means more when it goes back, like he was saying, social skills, social wealth. You have different aspects, you have different abilities. You're not always poor, you might be poor financially, but not always in other areas that you can make up for. And just through hustle and hard work, I mean, there's no limit, there's no ceiling. And a lot of things that Kim talked about transformation in East Spencer, even though I don't live there no more, I'm from there. I see the vision of where a lot of things, good things can happen down there if people come together and work together. And that's basically what I've been trying to do, is pull other people into what I'm doing and willing to work with other people and grow. And that's pretty much it with me. So, appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Second chances. No reason for excuses. The next person we'll be hearing from is Pastor Pat Jones, New Zion Missionary Baptist Church, growing community.
Hello, everyone. Growing community. I wrote down a definition real quickly and I battle your way. Community. One definition means a group of people. Go ahead. It means a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Community. Another definition says a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing a common interests, attitudes, and goals. Most of y'all, if not all of y'all, know the African proverb, it takes a village to raise one child. It's important because when you think about building community, that's exactly what it is. We're all community here. We're all together, white, black, Hispanic, whatever else, in developing community. I'm a part of two particular groups, Man Up Monday and Night Crawlers. And in those groups, y'all know Pastor Bates, and in those groups, we do a lot of community engaging and involvement. It's one thing to hear people say stuff about the community. It's one thing to hear Brother Fox say things about the community, but when you go out there and experience it, you understand exactly what it is that he's saying. So those two definitions really stuck with me. I want you to hear this. A group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristics in common. A feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common in attitudes, interests, and goals. So just like Brother King had up on the screen, the nice house, and said that could be in East Spencer, as a community we should all see that. We should all have the same goal. We should all have the same desire and interest. That's community. And as I was looking at the definition, it never said that community was a group of people who were black, a group of people who were white. It says a group of people. Y'all smart group. Together, having a particular characteristic. Same goal. So if one is doing well, all should be wanting to do well. If one is making it, all should want to make it. Community, common union. And this is what this is all about. So in that group Night Crawlers and Man Up Monday, we go throughout the communities of Salisbury, East Spencer, wherever we decide to go on Friday nights. And we meet a lot of people having a lot of issues, telling us a lot of things, complaining about a lot of stuff that's going on in our city, that's taking place right in our city. And they tell us so much, and I feel sometimes pressed to want to just take what they're telling us and go to the city and say, hey, look, fix this. You know, because it gets down in your core, because you see these people hurt. You see these people upset. You see these people crying. You see these people frustrated. It takes a village to raise one child. Everybody. Some of us, I'm 49, some of us grew up with mothers and fathers, but you also had those other mothers and fathers. So if I left my house and went down the street, Mrs. Johnson could do what my mother and father would do for me, or do to me. But with Man Up Monday, it's a very powerful group. We go around to the schools. We visit all these young kids, even high schools now, and I'm telling you, it's something when a child is sitting there and you ask them, what's wrong, you're not eating? No, I'm not eating, but find out that they really don't have money to eat. But then part of community, I don't know you, don't know your parents, but you got to eat, so here's some money to eat. That's community. That's common union. So you know, this is powerful. Brother King, this is great, but you know, after we talk, after we show slides, after we hear presentations, we then got to put our feet to the pavement. That's community. You know, I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor. James says something in his epistles. He says, faith without works is dead. So we all can pray, do our thing, but then after that, we got to begin to. And everybody can't do everything, but everybody can do something. Community, thanks.
Thank you very much. I think the pastor challenged us again. Mondays, Men Up Mondays. I haven't been able to make it yet, but if you get a chance, please go support the pastors. They're doing a great thing out in the community.
Brother, will you please let them know it's called Man Up Monday, but they serve the schools almost every day of the week. Yeah.
Man Up
No matter
Monday.
what your day is,
Going
whatever
by
day you have
each
off,
school
yes, they will let you
they're
know
going
what
out
school
to
they will
each
be in
school.
throughout the week. So
Each
it's not
Monday.
just Monday. It's not just Mondays.
Just not Monday?
Every day of the week.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's every day. So, yeah,
It's different schools.
Monday through Friday. And they do post it on Facebook where they're going to be usually, what school they're going to. If they don't make the first school, they post it. You can meet them at the next school. It's a great thing they're doing. And if you ever see on Facebook, the kids are having a great time. They truly appreciate them coming by, spending time with them. Even the teachers and the assistants are very thankful for them.
And they have a Facebook page, Man Up Monday. So if you like their page, you'll be able to keep up with where they'll be each day. So if you're interested in participating, if you like the page, you'll know where they'll be located, so you'll be able to participate.
Please visit the webpage. The next person we will be hearing is from Antonio Bonner, Wells Fargo, building place through home ownership. Bonner.
Thank you very much. While our AV guy is getting his laptop set up, we'll briefly talk about why I'm here. So again, Antonio Bonner, I represent Wells Fargo. Antonio Bonner, represent Wells Fargo. I am here to talk a little bit about home mortgages and the accessibility of mortgages to all communities. One of the things that that we talk about when we're coming out to venues such as this is making sure that everyone knows what opportunities exist. That owning a home is not just for the elite; it's for everybody. And one of the critical things is understanding what can you afford essentially. What is the actual goal in becoming a homeowner? If you're already a homeowner, are there other opportunities where you can possibly look to improve your home? Looking at the various programs, there are opportunities for you to potentially
refinance your home if you're a homeowner, existing homeowner, as well as opportunities to, let's say you're looking to retire soon or purchase a vacation home. What other opportunities might exist with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage? So what you guys see on the screen here is one of the tools that we have made available to pretty much everyone which is in the market of purchasing a home. You can actually go out through our website, and it's broken out into various sections of our website where you have to understand what is your goal. So if your goal is to purchase a home, the very first part of there is purchasing a home, buying a home, improving your home, refinancing your home, taking money out of your home if you have other objectives that you're interested in pursuing. Also, from this site, we try to make it as accessible and easy to follow as possible. There are different tools out here where if you're looking to really figure out how much can I afford, if you're buying your first home, here is where you would actually go out and actually start looking at different sources of information. So let's say you want to lower your monthly payment. Here's a link out here where we've got different models where you can actually go out, put in information so that you can clearly understand how to go about lowering your monthly payment. If you wanted to, again, buy a home, we go through different modules out here where you can easily click on the site to figure out how to go about getting pre-qualified, understanding your credit score, things of that nature. All of this is important information if there is a desire of an individual in this room to actually own a home. We also look at there are education opportunities here where if you're interested in, as I said, purchasing a home, there are classes that we conduct which will allow you to potentially participate in what we call down payment assistance program. Everybody thinks that as you're trying to purchase a home that you need 20% upfront, things of that nature, but that's a myth. You don't need 20% to purchase a home. There are a lot of programs out there where not only within Wells Fargo but outside where we can actually assist you with coming up with that down payment. There are programs, if you don't know what your credit score is, I tell people all the time, that's one of the first things that you need to clearly understand, where are you from a credit perspective. We've got programs also to assist individuals with getting their credit score to a point where they can actually participate in some of these programs and actually become a homeowner. So those are some of the programs that we've got available. Brother Muhammad had asked me to come up and speak to this fine group about some of the opportunities at Wells Fargo, and whenever we have an opportunity to come out into the community and talk about different opportunities, we definitely embrace those chances. So again, I am here representing Wells Fargo. My name is Antonio Bonner. I'll be around for a little while. If anyone would like to speak with me, feel free to grab me and we can talk about additional opportunities, as well as put you in contact with home mortgage consultants in this area that can assist you in potentially becoming a homeowner.
Village, Synergy, do you have it?
Yes.
All right. We're getting plenty of resources here. The next voice you will be hearing is from Sabrina Huff, college funding is possible.
Good morning, Rowan County. Good morning. Good morning, Rowan County. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here this morning. I'm going to get started with, I want to paint a picture for you. First of all, what's the word you see on there? You see college on there. On a piece of paper, correct? On a brochure, rather. Picture this with me. Little girl grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, lived 5 miles away from Johnson C. Smith University. Mama always took her uptown. They would pass on the bus. They could see Central Piedmont there in Charlotte, knew about Queens, knew about Kings. Again, she lived 5 miles from Johnson C. Smith University, and she was 47 years old before she ever got a chance to go on that campus. Yeah, I said the same thing, but I'm that little girl. I ain't 47 no more. Now, as I paint that picture for you, let me say this to you. There are a lot of children, and as our MC stated, I'm here because of, my name is Sabrina Huff. I'm here to represent my company. It's called Parents Point of View. Okay? When I walked in the room, I don't know if the NAACP president is still here, but he was talking about scholarships. My company, Parents Point of View, what I do is, I'm sure some of you may know of some students that have a desire to go off to college, and you don't just want it to be a word on a piece of paper or a word on a brochure for that student. You do not want that to happen, because I lived that. I know exactly what that was. I was a good kid. I didn't bother anybody. And guess what? They didn't bother me. They did not put before me the opportunity and the option. Nobody talked to Sabrina, at that time I was Sabrina Sturgis, nobody talked to Sabrina Sturgis about the possibility of college. Nobody said anything, and she didn't ask any questions. She went to school every day. She did what she was supposed to do. She was a very good student, a very good person, but because she didn't say anything to anybody, nobody said anything to her. Well, guess what? There's some more students out there just like Sabrina Sturgis. There are some more students out there that nobody's bothering. And I'm going to tell you how I know, because when I first moved here to Salisbury 4 years ago, I worked as a director for a daycare center. And at that daycare center, we had an after-school program right behind Livingstone College, Livingstone University College, Livingstone College. And there was a young lady that was 12 years old, young girl, 12 years old, that came to after-school program every day. And I started talking to them about some of the things that I do with Parents Point of View. And I'll tell you how we came about with Parents Point of View. I started talking to them. She grew up right here in Salisbury and had never been on the campus of Livingstone. I said, okay, there's another Sabrina. Her brothers never been on the campus of Livingstone. There are more students than you realize that have never been on the campus of Catawba, Livingstone, RCCC, never been on the campus. Well, guess what? That stops here. That stops here. My company, Parents Point of View, what I do is I not only work with the students, we know how to get students to college. We don't know how to cross them across the stage. Let's get across the stage. Let's get them across the stage. And not only that, their biggest cheerleader is being left out of the equation. Who is their biggest cheerleader? The parent. So in November of 2017, I completed my first book. The title of it is From Mama's House to College. The goal of that book is to do just this. And I'm not telling you about it for a sale. That's not my purpose today. My purpose today is this, because I want you to know that there is another resource that parents can utilize to help their student. Because at the end of the day, as much as I love the babies, I love the students I work with, who will they call when they get in trouble in college? Mama. Daddies, we love y'all, but I've been a mama more than I've never been a daddy. So the book had to be titled From Mama's House to College. And in working with the parents that I work with, not only do I work with them to help their student to get to college, but parents need to be able to understand the process. They need to be able to understand the language. College can be very intimidating. But guess what? It's doable. It is doable, but we have to equip our parents. I heard a lot of wonderful things in the room today. I don't know where Mr. Wakil, I think was his name, but I applaud him because I'm the mother of 3 sons. And when Parents Point of View was born, I was trying to get my oldest son into college. And I would go to the high school. I moved here from Anson County, Wadesboro, North Carolina, moved to Salisbury from there. And when I was working on getting my son into college, I would go out to the high school, and the guidance counselor at that time would ask me, well, when are you going to let him do it? He needs to fill out the applications. Yes, he does. He needs to apply for school. Yes, he does. But if he does not, are you going to let him live with you? Was my question to that guidance counselor. His answer was no. He backed up a little bit and realized that I'm dealing with a mama that's for real. It's no play. Because at the end of the day, I'm his mother, and I have to make sure that he is prepared, he is equipped, and he is ready. Because the world is not going to love our children as much as we do. It's going to chew them up and spit them out if we sit back. And let me please clarify this, because I've had the pleasure and honor not just to work with students that look like my children. Paint one last picture for you, and I'll sit down. Mother called me, and she said, they're getting ready to send Haley home from Lenore Ryan because she doesn't have all of the information in for her financial aid, for her scholarship information. So I said, well, what day are we driving up to Lenore Ryan? That's the other thing we do with Parents Point of View is we actually go to the campuses with the parent. Let's walk through the process. We get on the campus of Lenore Ryan. We go over to the financial aid office and we talk to the financial aid advisor or the financial aid specialist there. And this is her response to us. I just had a student here just a few minutes ago, had the same issue that Haley's having, and she chose to go home. Are you telling me out loud that you just allowed a student to leave your campus and go home? I was a little confused, but I let her finish. She shared what exactly had happened with not just the student's information. She wasn't sharing that, but she was sharing the scenario. After she finished, she said, well, this is what we found out since that student left. It may be that the business office computer has not talked to the financial aid office computer. So the information that was on this side of the campus hadn't gotten to that side. And so guess what? We went across the street and sure enough, that's what it was. Parents Point of View is here in Salisbury to work with parents, work with students, to educate about the process, to help parents to understand the process, and to equip parents and students for the journey, not just to college, but let's get them across the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Village, you've been challenged again. Like we done went to work already and we haven't did anything yet. But we have the resources. And I can't say this enough, but Men Up Monday, that's where it's going to start. If we can all start participating, getting other people to go, we catch them while they're young, we can make a difference. Because I don't know if you listen to Mikhail, he said some of those saying that they coming right back out and going to do the same thing. And I don't know about you, that's kind of scary. So we need to go to work. Next person you will hear, very passionate about the community and the individual in a whole, to take them to another level. Ms. Robin Whitehurst, Forever Yours, LLC, holding on to our money and building a legacy.
Hey family! Right, so I've been one time anybody hold the mic up. So when I don't hold the mic up, somebody tell me to hold the mic up, okay? Very good. Question? Yes. No. She wants your phone number. Okay. All right. Let's communicate. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So while give me 1 second. I gotta log in. I'm Robin Whitehurst, and many of you know me as RJ, and I'm just going to tell you a couple things that you may not know about me while I'm bringing my computer up. I've got a few minutes before you today to give my contribution. That's what we're all here to do, right? Bring our contribution to the table. One of the things that I'm excited about is all of you, but particularly Antonio Bonner was here talking about home ownership. And one of the things that I do, and Gerald, right, so on our team, we go to the public housing, and we talk to them about home ownership. And we track them to that space that you just heard Antonio talk about. So I want you to know that when we, give me one moment here. Technology, we love it when it works. Just turn this off. Here we go. I want you to know that with everything that everyone's doing and your hands are on the community, that we are doing what we are saying, right? It's not just slides on the board, it's just we are doing what we are saying. And I'm happy to, and I'm not going to call you out, but I'm going to say there are people in the room who come to those meetings, and the outreach works. That is my point. So every time that we are having these Black leadership breakfasts, we need to have people in the room that we've touched that don't know anything about what we're doing and who we are. Can we agree on that? Can everybody bring one? Bring somebody next time? Yes? 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 Because it's way more than us than this room, right? Right? It's way more than us. So what you may not know about me is that for 45 years I've been a natural healer. People know me as She Fat. So you may hear people call me that, and I will answer and you go, what? Who is that? So for 45 years I've worked as a natural healer, and one of the things that I realized is that when the market tanked in 2008, people stopped being able to afford to be able to get natural health and healing because their money had gone down, right? And so they were beginning to opt to, rather than do the natural thing, to go under the knife or under the meds. So sometimes, many times, we compromise our own lives because we don't have the money to do the things that we really want to do. Yes, yes? Okay? So I'm here to talk to you about some more assets and some more tools that we can use to get our money right. So can I have a conversation with you this morning about money? Yes? Okay? I always have to ask that question because two things that I know. People don't want you to tell them nothing about how they eat. Don't bother me with my food. And number two, don't mess with my money. Yes? All right. So what I'm here to do is to share some things that you may not have known about, probably don't know about. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So you get it about me now, right? I ask a question and you give an answer. Okay? Yes? Yes. All right. That's how we roll. Synergy, yes? Yes. Okay. Very good. So if I could tell you something about some things that you thought were true that are not true, when would you want to know? Now, right? Now. So I'm here to tell you that now is the time. So I'm going to talk to you about two tools, strategies that help us to get our money right that we don't know about, and two things that are truths that you need to know now. The first thing is that in our community, in our tribes, in our nation building, we have an issue with not being what is called accredited. Now you may not know what that means, but here's how that breaks down. By law in this nation, if you do not make $250,000 a year or have that much in discretionary income, who knows what discretionary means? Right? It means I can do anything I need to do with it and it won't impact my lifestyle, right? So I could lose 250 grand and I'll be good, right? That's discretionary income. If your community, if you as a person a household if your household does not bring in that as discretionary income, there are laws on the books that say there's financial information that you cannot know. That is a truth. So when we deal with the issue of poverty, it's not about who has money, who does not have money. Wealth is about knowledge and understanding. Wealth is about what you know. So in 1998, when I found that information out, I went and got my license to be on the inside of the financial industry so that I could go get that information for such a time as this, when I could tell you that you and I need to sit down at a table, kneecap to kneecap, so I can share some things with you that I know that you don't know, because it's against the law for you to know. So Edward Jones and Merrill Lynch and those guys are not coming to knock on your door. They're not coming to the Black Leadership Breakfast to talk to you about your money because, and you don't have to raise your hands, it's a rhetorical question, do you have $250,000 of discretionary income? They ain't coming. That's one truth that you needed to know now. The other truth is really a true or false statement. Is it true or false that the best financial tools are not available to the average person? That is true. By show of hands, how many know that to be true? Right? Not available. So how do we accumulate, say accumulate, how do we accumulate assets? How do we accumulate cash funds? How do we accumulate the resources that we need? And how many know that money is a need when you raise in a community? Right? You got to have it. Right, man? Okay? You got to have it. How many know that money is an issue when you're raising a family? Right? How many know that money is an issue when we want to send our children to college? Yes? All right, so I'm going to talk to you about two tools that you probably never heard of, but that you need to know. And this is one of those invitations again. This is a call to action, Brother William. So when you come back up here, you can say, I think somebody challenged you. Right? This is a call to action to talk to me. The first tool is called a private reserve account. How many have heard of that before? A private reserve account. A private reserve account is you owning your own bank. How's that sound? You being your own banker. At the bank, you get about, and it's not about, I got a sheet I opened a business account, and Bank of America gave me an interest rate sheet that said I could earn a whopping 0.02%, right? 0.02%. And at $250,000, they would give me 0.06%. So you mean to tell me I can only earn a couple pennies on my dollar? That's it. A private reserve account is where you can earn anywhere from 7.65% to 15% on your money. Now, how does that wrap your mind around this? And you might have to take notes on this one, all right? If you divide, this is a concept, basic fundamental, that talks about interest. We still having a money conversation, is that all right? Okay. If you take the number 72, you've heard the rule of 72, right? If you take the number 72 and divide it by your interest rate, it'll tell you how many years it takes your money to double. If you were getting 1%, and we already said that you're not, right? We said you're getting 0.02, 0.06. If you were getting 1%, your money how long would it take your money to double? He said forever. How many? 72 years. Who in the room has 72 years to wait? All right, I don't. Right, I don't. Right? You don't have 72 years to wait for your money to double. Okay? So do you think you need to be, if you have money parked in a bank account somewhere, do you think that you might want to get your money working for you? Harder than you working for it? That's what a private reserve account can do for you. And it also will provide you with a legacy, something to leave for your family. It'll provide you with living benefits if you get sick, right? Because a lot of times when we're talking about our money, what we don't understand and that we need to do is to protect the income that we have right now. Because if you get sick and you cannot work, what happens to your income? And if you pass away and your family still needs your money, what happens to your income? It's gone. So do you think that you want to have a tool in place? This is a tool that we didn't know about. Do you think that we need to have these kinds of tools in place? Yes. Now here's the kicker. This is what gets me. This is not new. It's been around since the 1800s, and wealthy people have been doing it the whole time. How many heard of old money? Okay, saying right? So how about we get some new money in our community? That's one tool. The next tool I want to introduce you to is not the Olympics. We heard of the Olympics, but did you know that the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles in 2028? Let me set this up. How many know where IKEA is in Charlotte? Do you remember when they first built it? When they put it out there next to 85, it was in the wilderness. Yes? There was nothing over there. You go over there today, you can't even find a place to park. That land that was wilderness is called land in the path of growth. Would it have been a good idea for you to own some of that land? Yes, based on what happened. What's happening in Los Angeles, and why is this important? We in Salisbury, what's this got to do with us? You can buy land collectively in the path of growth where they're building the 2028 Olympic Village. Warren Buffett has a million, this is a big number, right? Solar panels. He has a million solar panel farm in Antelope Valley. There's no place else to go. We provide you the ability to get 24% land growth interest on the land when you hold it for 3 to 5 years. So I know that this is a heavy topic. One of the things that I say when I do our financial literacy classes on Wednesday night at East Square Artworks, the home of Whitney and Saeed's art, is I always tell people that I know that audiences would rather stick pins in their eyes than have a financial conversation, right? Because it's like boring, right? But when you don't have enough money, is that boring? Can you imagine being able to put a beach in East Spencer, right? We kind of chuckled about that. But one of the things that Brother Kenny didn't say is that they brought all that water into Abu Dhabi. There wasn't no ocean over there, right? I didn't know that, right? There was no ocean over there. So can we do that in East Spencer? It's a possibility. Why do I put that in here? Because land banking is what I just described to you. Land banking. Put that in your vocabulary. Land banking. You can own land in the path of growth when you know somebody who knows where that path of growth is. And that somebody is me. So, my invitation to you, as we continue to move forward, is that you allow me to have this conversation with you privately, because we can't talk about your money in public, right? So, have this conversation with you privately so we can see where it is you need to go next. Can we do that? I have business cards, and I would love to sit down and talk with you about creating a legacy for your family and a legacy for our community as we build up the nation. Thank you so much. God bless you. I love
you. Rowan, Synergy. I don't know about you, you should be excited. 26%, I would want to know something about that. 24. Well, 24 from 1% to 24%. I think I'll check on that if I was just saying. Next voice you will be hearing from is Dr. Jonathan Pullen, founding principal at SE School. Our place is built in SE Schools.
Good morning, everyone. I promise I'll be quick. Okay, so when we start looking at Ms. Fox's school, Essie's school, there are a couple things that come to mind based on what was said earlier. Okay, so I'm not recreating the wheel. One of the things I'd like to point out to you is one of the foundations of what we're trying to do is build community, relationships, and partnerships. Is that a good thing? Okay, so I just met with the mayor and the town administrator on Wednesday to talk about things that we're trying to do to make sure that they understand that we need their support, that we need a relationship. That was the essence of my conversation. We need a relationship because the kids need you. The kids need me. The kids need us. Agree? Agree. Okay. The second point is from an intellectual perspective. I want to build a modern strategic plan through our kids looking at the future. So I want to take my kindergartners and I want them to start thinking about what it is they want to be. What college do they want to go to? Let's start some college tours. Let's start visiting government officials. You want to be president? Yeah, I want to be president. My little kindergartners. Strategy. What I'm trying to do is get inside their mind and convince them that they can. Okay, so this sounds crazy. So the other night, last night as a matter of fact, I was hanging out and I told someone, I want my kindergartners to know how to do calculus. And they were like, well, we know you don't drink and we know you know. And I was like, no. Because once I can teach them what an integral is, that little thing that looked like a worm, they got it. They got it. They can do it because I told them they could do it. I didn't tell them it was hard. I didn't tell them it was calculus. It's a game. All right, last point. We want to be able to tell our story to everybody. Miss Fox's story, and the story of the East Spencer community. We want to tell that to the nation. I've said this before, I'll say it again. We'll be on 60 Minutes. Because we're going to do something that nobody else is doing, but I can't do it without your support. Agreed? All right, thank you very much.
Synergy. I like that word. I don't know about you. I feel like it gives you energy. Synergy? Do we have synergy? All right. The next voice you'll be hearing, passionate pastor in the community. I don't know he's actually from Salisbury, but he has taken it Salisbury as his own. Next voice you will be hearing is Anthony Smith, Mission House, from building blocks to house undivided.
All right, turn to your neighbor and say, I am. Because we are. Say it again. I am. Because we are. Amen. That's some wisdom that comes from our motherland. Actually, it's all of our motherlands because humanity came from Africa. Correct? Amen. So we all can say that. I love the fact that Brother Fox mentioned the word synergy in the very beginning as he began to frame the conversation that we're having right now. That is a powerful word, y'all. Amen. It's okay if I break that down real quick. It actually comes from two Greek words, Latin words, sin, energeo. Sin, energeo. Same energy. Say that. Same energy. It also means same work. And so I don't know about you. My brother said he wasn't sure if I was from here. I'm not. My wife's from here. Y'all probably know my wife, Tony Cook. She's a hairdresser. She's part of the Cook family. I lived here since 2010. And I noticed one of the first things I learned real quickly is that everybody ain't got the same energy as you. Amen. And one of the hardest things to do is to work with folk that ain't got the same energy as you. And so let's be clear about that. Amen. I feel like people in this room have the same kind of energy. And so as we continue to build this, create more opportunity to have conversation and to strategize and to brainstorm, to create action, task force, whatever comes out of this, I pray that you keep the same energy. That doesn't mean that we all agree on the same thing. Amen. Some of us are part of different organizations. Some of us are part of different movements. Some of us are part of different churches, different faith communities. Everybody here ain't a Christian. There's Muslim, there's Buddhist, there's atheists, right? And so we all come together from different places, but it seems like we have to name the energy that's in the room.
All right.
Amen. What brings us together, which leads to this, what is the story that we're going to tell? Right? Because we can build all the programming that we want. We can create all the processes that we want to see in the community. We can even make a whole lot of money, but if the story ain't right, what's going to happen? Corporations will come in and strip. Even if they set up manufacturing bases here, guess what? If they get a better deal in China, they will leave. So the story is this. So if you're going to bring manufacturing here, why? And who will benefit? So some of the things about leadership here, we're in the Black Leadership Breakfast. We have to ask ourselves questions. Some of us have to be protectors and guardians. We have to ask the hard, critical questions sometimes. And this is important. So I'm supposed to be talking about a house undivided. And I was like, how do we get here? And so, I was trying to figure that out. I was like, how do we talk about this? And so I get to talk about my own work in this community, which is very short. Since we've been here since 2010, we've helped create, and I don't work alone with other people. People look at me and it's like, oh, he's a leader. No, I work with other people. There's other people that strengthen me. My mentor in this community has been Emily Perry. She's like my Ella Baker. Amen. There's other people, Sister Regina, Sister Dora, Nan, Whitney, Susan, many other people in this community, Brother Tim Bass, Pastor Pat Jones, several other people that we've worked together. So a part of being a house undivided is one, recognizing and honoring each other's strengths. One of the things I've noticed sometimes in our community, when people show up strongly and powerfully in their grace and their strength, we attack them. We cannot do that. We have to honor each other's strengths and grace. Amen. If I'm one of those crazy pastors that get up and speak truth to power, let me do that. Don't criticize that. That's what I do. If you see brothers showing up in schools, being present with young men and women in the schools, don't criticize that. Honor that. Lift that up and say, how can I support that? We see women stepping into the places that they've always been there. They won't say women stepping in. They always have led. Amen. We see women of color in particular step into political power in our community. Don't criticize that. Support that. Amen. So what am I talking about here? Part of being a house that's undivided is honoring and recognizing and being conscious that there are different assets in the community. Everybody ain't going to be the same. I am not going to be the black preacher that's going to be nice to people that's acting unjustly in the community. I'm not going to be one of them people. Right? And there's other people who are called to work with those in power in a way that's more conciliatory. I don't criticize them because that's their role. I had a meeting with a brother once. He was an African-American pastor in the community. He said, I'm called to sit at the table, brother. I'm called to play nice. I said, that's what you do. I'm called to stand out with the sign in front and say, stop. What I'm saying is this. We have to learn how to honor each other's assets. Honor each other's graces. Honor each other's gifts. And two things. Oftentimes, our leaders, when we engage the community, we speak from a place of deficit. Always deficit. What's wrong? Right? What's wrong? What's not right? What's broken? And we need those conversations. But we also, our young people in particular, they got to see leaders saying, this is what's right. This is what's beautiful. This is what's powerful in your street, on your block, in your neighborhood. These young brothers fixing their bikes. That's beautiful. They're entrepreneurs. So we got to learn how to go from not just deficit, but learn how to speak from a place of abundance. What is the abundance that's already in our community? We always see our community as completely in lack. That is not true. We have abundance in the community. So what is this powerful story out in here? Powerful story. There's a powerful story right now amongst the demographic shift that's happening in our community. And I think many of you are aware of this. But I'm just going to be, can I say it plain? Because I don't know how to say it otherwise. White folks scared. Y'all didn't clap. Why? Because the demographic is shifting. There's all kind of articles this week that came out. There's a deep anxiety amongst white people in this whole country because the demographics are shifting. And it's already here in Salisbury. The demographics are already shifting, right? That doesn't mean that we're taking over something. That's just a fact of evolution. Our populations are growing faster than their population here. Black and brown folk. And so what does that mean in a situation where white folks have all the power politically and economically, but then they begin to see African American folks, brown folks begin to organize politically, begin to talk about business and land and finances and political organizing and how we're going to take over boards and commissions and sit people at city council. They're going to get scared. And some of them don't even realize it. That's the anxiety that they feel right now. Because they've been in charge of everything for 500 years. This has to be talked about. This has to be out. You got white folks talking about this more than we talking about it. So don't think I'm coming like some radical black dude. I read an article about a white man that said, we scared. So what does this mean? The power of a story. It is that story that has led to the regressive politics that is happening out of Raleigh, the intentional marginalization of people of color in the political sphere. This has been intentional. The power of a story, when they kind of constrict people's right to vote and participate in the political process, folks who barely vote anyway. Power of a story. But suppose we told a different story. That is my hope with this space. Let us tell a different story. A story of a people that decided to say, what are our assets? What are our gifts? What are our graces? Suppose we found a way to create a situation where all can experience flourishing in this community. Amen. Say, I am because we are. Amen.
If you don't have any synergy now, as I say in church, you dead. The next voice you'll be hearing, give me great honor, is shadow-breaking, history-making Mayor Al. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we bring the mayor, we have Dr. Susan Lee. I'm sorry. She's going to give a few announcements.
And Al, come up and stand here with me if you don't mind, because this is something that we pulled together with the Salisbury Human Relations Council. Last month I was here, and I heard the call, and I went out, not alone, but with my network, and that was Center for Faith in the Arts, Covenant Community Connection with the Salisbury Human Relations Council, where the mayor is our liaison, and Hood Seminary. And with just a few calls of the people who I know care, it is happening. So on April 4th, we are going to honor and commemorate the tragic loss of Martin Luther King. It's 50 years since he was assassinated this year, with a film that is a woman telling a story. She's telling the story of her father, who had formerly a third grade education, but a brilliant man who was a farmer, and he stepped up and became the first black school board member during the time of integrating the schools, and he rose to become the chairman, and the movie is Chairman Jones. I also heard, it's a great movie, and she's a wonderful woman. They're showing it at Johnson C. Smith on March 22nd. The director emailed me and said, hey, we can do this in Salisbury too, and she and I have been working for like 18 months on getting this to happen. That's why I'm so excited about this. So it will happen on April 4th at Hood. Following that, what I heard last month was minister after minister coming up and saying, what are we doing outside the church walls? What are we doing outside of Sunday morning? We heard it today from Pastor Jones. So what we've got here is a panel discussion that Hood is going to pull together, because they can do that, to discuss the 21st century justice. What is the role of the church in the 21st century with social justice struggles? So thank you very much. I hope you come. Hey, it's free. It's free, so tell everybody there's posters out on the back table. If you have a place in the community that you can hang it, let people know. We want a lot of people to come out and support this commemoration. Thank you.
It's all about a group, not black and white, male, female. It's all about a group coming together and taking action. The next voice you'll be hearing, I know you have energy after I announced this voice. She shattered records, is history making. Our mayor, Rowan County, Al Higgins.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. When we talk about synergy, we've got it in this room. We have got real synergy in this room. And thank you for being here and bringing that to this space. Hearing a lot of powerful stuff this morning. You're really making me think. Really making me think. Just a few announcements, though, about what's coming up when we talk about synergy and change in the community. You know that our annual council retreat is coming up on March 21st and 22nd. I hope you've heard those dates. Have y'all heard that in the community? On March 21st, from 1 until 7 p.m., is going to be that first day. Now, the annual retreats are always open to the public. You know, every public meeting from an elected body is always open to the public. But we're going to be doing it a little differently this year. Because from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m., we're going to be bringing those voices to the table. You hear me? We're going to be sitting at round tables, and we're going to have a real conversation. And what that conversation is going to be about is co-creating our vision and our mission and our core values for this city. Now, we haven't visited that in some time. And so as I was talking with council about this and talking with the city manager about this, I said, you know, this community looks very different. We haven't talked about the core values of this community in 30 years. I don't know about y'all, but 30 years ago, Salisbury looked very different. Do you feel me? Salisbury looked very different 30 years ago. Our community has shifted. And so you cannot assume that those core values are always the same. So we're going to be co-creating at the table. There's a facilitator coming in. Although there's plenty of talent in this room that was able to facilitate that conversation, there is a facilitator that's coming in to help us walk through this process. So we will be creating the vision for this city, creating the mission for this city, and creating those core values. So are you with me? Yes. Are you with me? No, y'all are with me. That doesn't sound like you're with me. Are you with me? Thank you. Because we need you there on March 21st. We're going to start that portion at 3 p.m. Now, you're welcome to come at 1 because I think it's always good to sit there and hear what's going on. They're going to be talking about capital improvement projects. You need to hear that. We're going to be talking about, Robin was just talking about the fact of land growth and strategically buying land and what that means. You know there's a lot of work out here on Interstate 85, right? That corridor is going to be opening up. So Salisbury is going to see growth no matter what. So you don't want to be left behind when that growth begins to start and when that growth begins to happen. So there's something called the Metropolitan Organization Board that meets down in Kannapolis. It's for Rowan and Cabarrus counties. The MPO is a very important board because it talks about transportation issues and what is transportation going to be looking like. Transportation is critical to communities. Are we going to be opening up our rail so that we can have access on the rail getting back and forth to Charlotte for jobs? These are conversations that you need to be in and hear. I will get that up on the website so you know when those meetings take place. It should already be on the city website, but sometimes I know things are a little hard to find, so we need to make sure that information is getting out there. So what time do I need to see you? And what's the date? March 21st. March 21st. Now you're welcome to stay for both days, but the most critical time is from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. sitting at those round tables. It's going to be at the West End Plaza. Yes, Tawanda, is that what you're going to answer? Where's it going to be? At the West End Plaza. That's where we're going to be. The next thing is I'd like to announce is the Mayor's Spirit Luncheon. Now, this has been going on for a number of years, but luckily, thanks to you, I get my turn for the Mayor's Spirit Luncheon. So it's going to be a little different this year. So already, the theme for this year's Spirit Luncheon, which is going to Mayor's Spirit Luncheon, which is going to be the 25th of April from 12 until 1:30 p.m., the theme this year is faith in action. Speaking truth to power. Oh, y'all don't like that topic? It is faith in action, speaking truth to power. And the person who's been invited to be our keynote speaker is the Reverend Dr. Regina Danson. So, want to see you there, because when we talk about a spirit breakfast, there's a lot of spirit in this room. And Dr. Susan Lee and I were talking about this. She's the chair of the CCC, and so we have already kind of been putting our heads together and talking about what is this luncheon going to look like. They did let me do the theme, but we have a chance to really talk about what is this going to look like when we have this conversation. So when we're speaking truth to power, it's more than just hearing the message about what that means. It's about also hearing from the people in the room as to what that means to you and how do we take that back and work. Because as a person who's elected, I don't call myself an elected official, I'm an elected public servant. When we were in the HRC meeting just the other night, there was a conversation going on about what the HRC can and cannot do and who that has to go through. We had to get some clarification around that. As people who are appointed to boards and commissions in the city, understand you don't work for the city. I want you to hear that. You don't work for the city. You're not a city employee. You have been appointed by the folks you have elected to serve on those boards and those commissions, okay? Does that make sense? So that means that you're representing people. You've been appointed to represent people. What are you doing on those boards and the commissions to make sure that you're working in the best interest of the public and not just one segment of the public? What are you doing to work in the best interest of the entire public, of our entire community? And how do we begin to make sure that we're using the kind of a racial equity lens to make sure that we're including everybody, that no one is being left out? So just want to make sure that we understand that when you're on those boards and commissions, you're working for the public. Yes, you're doing work for the city to make sure that local government is lifting everyone up, but you're not a city employee, okay? Lastly, I want to talk about Mondays with the mayor coming to you. I've been really thinking about how to do this. At first I was thinking about, you know what, people can come to City Hall, they can see the mayor's office, but you know what, y'all can come to City Hall and see the mayor's office anytime, can't you? I need to come to you. Mayors, Monday with the mayors needs to be me coming to you. So I need you to email me and tell me where you want me to be. From 5:30 to 7:30 and I will show up. Does that work? So I need your emails. Y'all please start getting the communities and bringing folks together so they can come and talk to me and I can come and talk to them and hear what they have to say and what their needs are, okay? And then lastly, I'm just going to say this, and I've been saying this to students as I've been going around to the schools. Don't be discouraged, don't be devalued, and don't be dismissed. I want you to hear me now. Don't be discouraged, don't be devalued, and don't be dismissed. Because as long as you're raising your voices, that ain't going to happen because they're going to see your courage, right? Right? They're going to see your courage. They're definitely going to have to see your value, whether they want to see it or not, and bring that value to the table. And I just want you to know you will be missed if I don't see you. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for having me here today. And I look forward to seeing you these days. Thank you.
Synergy. Please get out and support the mayor. Let's get out there and make sure we show up. It's Tuesdays. Make sure we support our mayor. The next voice you'll be hearing, conclusion, our own Kenneth Muhammad, AM, place-based strategy by design.
I'm good. I think everybody got enough. Everybody good, right?
Thank you, everybody.
We'll keep this going, and we gotta be building and moving for no engagement. So we need to bring Brother Pastor up to close us out. Thank everybody really from the bottom of my heart for coming out and listening.
I just wanted to say that we have new, at least he was new to me, and I know he's new to a lot of my friends, pastor in town, Nathaniel Burrison, and so I want everybody to give him a big welcome. And he'll tell you, can you tell him a little bit about what you hope to do before you start the prayer? Just a little bit. Okay.
Grace and peace, everybody. How are you doing today? I'm not going to hold you long. My name is Nathaniel Burrison. I'm actually a full-time staff chaplain for Hospice and Palliative Care Center. I'm also planning a ministry in East Spencer. The Lord willing, we're looking to finalize some things next week, and just excited about what the Most High is doing in this community, and looking forward to being a part of whatever that is. Amen. If we can all bow our heads and pray. Most holy God, eternal love, for the gift of this day, we give you thanks. For the opportunity to come together as one people, as one voice, with one objective, we give you thanks. We thank you for all of the voices that have been presented here today. We thank you for all of the synergy that has been created. Lord, we just ask your blessings as we continue in the sacred work that you have called us all to do. That is, to be your hands and your feet, to show the love of who you are in these communities. We thank you for all of those who have come together, not in their own name, but in the name of the spirit of collaboration, of community, of love, of grace, and of peace. So continue to watch over us, continue to get us to our respective places. We thank you for everything that you are yet to do, all those things that you are about to do in all the lives of these your people. So Lord, bless and keep your people. Continue to shine upon them and be gracious to them. Continue to lift up your countenance upon them and give them your peace. Since in all things we ask in your most holy and wondrous name, it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you everybody for coming out. We're not rushing, but we need to be out. We're exceeded our time. If you have to have a discussion, please do it outside. Thank you once again for coming out, and we'll see you the next meeting.
Thank you.